What's going on, KPG? How y'all doing? Good afternoon by now. It is currently, let's see, 11:16. Oh shit! Oh, all right. Y'all can. I don't know if y'all can hear, but yeah, we're gonna be back to Mush Critical, another video that he put out. It's about 16 months ago or 6 months ago. I've kind of forgot the time frame, but it's about some samurai or some dude on the internet. For the 1900s. Apparently, he did some. You will explain in the video, but yeah, ridiculous samurai situation. Most critical. Let's see if we can pull this up. There we go. Boom. All right, here we go.
Just learned about something extraordinary. A situation from 1997
Yeah,
that
1997.
somehow I was unaware of. And I look back at my life of 5 hours ago in disgust that I could be so ignorant to not know about this. I watched a video covering this and then watched the raw footage of the situation, and I'm confident this is footage I will never forget. The Men in Black couldn't neuralize this information out of my brain. A YouTuber named Sir W made a video about a guy wielding a sword holding off 50 cops. And on
what? Fuck you mean holding off? Like fighting them?
Stream the other night, chat told me about it, and it piqued my interest, but I didn't watch it until today. And since finishing that video, I've embarked on a personal quest to learn everything there is to know about the Seattle Samurai,
that sounds insane.
Tony Allison.
Tony Allison.
Unfortunately, all the information is
crazy with a
lost
sword.
to time, or perhaps it's a little more dubious than that. Maybe a government cover-up to keep it under wraps because he was too powerful with the katana.
Okay,
I don't really know.
So I know what type of shit we're on, bro. We're just we're being sarcastic. We're gassing this shit up.
Unfortunately, I don't have many results to showcase for my hours worth of trying to deep dive, but I still wanted to talk about this story and show you Sir W's video as well as the raw footage of the police standoff with the Seattle Samurai.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so cool.
With nothing but sunglasses and a samurai sword to his name.
Shit, he got the blade fit. What the fuck? Yo!
And held off an army of police officers for 11 hours and just stood there.
Damn.
His name is Tony Allison. But on this day, he insisted that everybody, including the police, refer to him as Apollo. And it all started with him.
Yo, he's on crack.
He's on crack.
Yeah, April 3rd, 1997.
This
a
brother
date
is on
that
some type
Seattle
of drugs,
still
bro.
bears the scars from. A date that is etched into the tablets of time, never to be forgotten. Except
I love how
by
he drags
pretty much
it out, bro.
everybody, it seems.
It's awesome.
Sir W, the YouTuber here, even mentions how surprised he was that no one else had covered this story, and I am equally as surprised now after having learned it.
That's aura to a whole nother domain.
Is outrageous.
That's insane.
So it was just a normal, peaceful afternoon in Seattle, and then we witnessed the birth of the last true samurai, Tony Allison, who was walking around
receding
brandishing
hairline,
his
army
trusty
pants,
blade,
just like crazy
and
shit.
Some of the civilians were a bit disturbed by it, weirded out. You know, why is he walking around with a sword? Eventually, an off-duty officer followed him around because he found it to be odd as well.
Now, Apollo was suspicious of this guy following him, and rightfully so. I would be as well. So he took what the cop describes as a defensive stance with his sword at the ready, which is understandable in a defense situation.
Wait, is that one glove? No, you get the Mike Jack? Michael Jackson blade. Fuck. Yo, that hairline is insanity. You got a leather jacket. The katana's on the back. It's not even on the hip, bro. He's like that.
Like this one. Sadly, that was enough for the off-duty cop to call his buddies. And they would remain in that same location for the next 11 hours.
As quite a few of the YouTube comments
he stood in the same spot for 11
hours?
This
entire situation is the very definition of he's just standing there
menacingly.
At no point does Apollo ever use his blade. He doesn't swing it. He doesn't get aggressive or show any signs of trying to draw blood. He's not trying to carve flesh from bone or anything. He's keeping his Bushido arts under wrap. He doesn't unleash his Bankai or anything. He just sits there wielding the blade for 11 fucking hours. And he is striking some mean power stances. Like, he is looking like...
Oh, so he probably expected him to be taking photos of him, so he was alternating poses like some type of model. Bro, that's crazy ass... Bro, what the fuck?
An anime character. It looks like a video game idle animation from a lot of the footage I've seen here. For 11 hours. As like 50 officers surround him and try and talk with him. Now, his name is Tony Allison, but he wanted to be
Called
called
Apollo.
He didn't really communicate with the
bro.
authorities, aside from a couple of like sentences that he said that were apparently pretty cryptic. But one of the things that he requested was that they refer to him as Apollo, which is a pretty badass name. Almost as badass as Gamer Sups, the best beverage ever invented.
Oh my god, here we go.
Everyone in the world knows
the
Gamer
plug
Sups.
Shit, bro. Yeah, we get it.
I also have eaten.
Oh, that's actually cool. Gamer Sups or Gamer Soups? Oh, it says Gamer Sups on the damn product shit, but they're actually doing soups. Well, I don't care about that. Let's get back to the video.
Now, I'll put a link to everything in the description. You can follow their Twitter, follow their Instagram, or get yourself some Gamer Soup of your own.
Back to the Samurai.
Big thanks to them for sponsoring.
Apollo.
Seattle, Washington.
That's
An
loud.
explosive standoff begins when a man brandishes a samurai sword on a downtown sidewalk. A friend of the man confirms authorities' worst fears.
Yeah, he knows how to use the sword.
Oh, this is Aura.
Everyone's worst nightmare has just come true.
Bro, he kind of looks like the dude that's behind Moist. That's behind Charlie. The dude from Godslap. He kind of looks like that a little bit in the face.
Just like Roronoa Zoro, it turns out Tony Allison is aiming to be the best swordsman in the world, I guess. I don't know. They said that this guy is a friend of Tony's and that apparently he knows how to use the blade.
The blade.
I don't know if he's necessarily an expert or anything on the matter, or if Tony does performances with the sword or something. I don't know how he would know. Like, I feel like if you're studying the blade, you're not exactly showcasing your skills to others. You want to keep it a secret in case shit gets hairy, right? You don't want to reveal your technique.
That's the thing about nowadays, bro. Like, for the gun, you can conceal it, and then you can like do what you need to do. But with a sword, like, imagine you learn a sword art and you're just walking around with a sword, bro. Like, that's just not normal, bro. Like, that's not normal. If I had a gun and I see somebody with a sword, I'm shooting them first. Like,
weeks to potential opponents. So I feel like when he was interviewed and asked, does he know how to use the sword? He's like, yeah, fuck yeah. I'm sure he does, probably. And to
put him
be
on the
fair,
spot.
I feel like if you have a sword, it's kind of intuitive. You swing it a lot, and maybe you thrust and stab it a bit.
Little thrust.
Police quickly cordon off the block.
Everybody on the curb.
Over one dude just standing there. That is insane. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit for y'all. There we go.
A SWAT team
They got
arrives
guns
and surrounds
with
the
just
man.
the
They
like
begin talking to the suspect, trying to persuade him to drop his weapon.
all because he just got followed by an undercover or off-duty officer. All of this happened because he just noticed he was being followed and stand still for 11 hours. What do you want?
They got the whole force out here like they're trying to apprehend Cobra Commander. I'm assuming there was no other crime going on in Seattle.
They got the damn military vehicles pulling up.
The entire department to come down here for a fucking field trip. Maybe crime stood still like for this entire day just watching the Seattle Samurai standoff. I don't really know. But it's a huge response. And they're trying to talk to him, but like I said, he wasn't in a very talkative mood, aside from letting them know that he wants to be called Apollo. Now, according to Sir W's video, they tried to bribe him. I'll go ahead and play this section for you.
Not there. Apparently, they tried to bribe the samurai sword out of his hand with a glorious sum of $50. I want you to take one look at this guy and guess how he responded. However, the police did not give up here. Now they went back to the drawing board and came up with another offer. Now, I can't make this. Offered him a Big Mac. No, I'm serious. This is real. They offered him McDonald's. This is targeted. And they assumed since he was unmoved by this, he must have a mental health history. So they tried triggering schizophrenic urges. Of course, he was unmoved by these childish tricks and continued to stand his ground.
So now, from all the research I've done, and keep in mind, there's only so much available. I guess a lot of information may have been lost in the Library of Alexandria. In this case, God only knows where all of this has vanished. I feel like
it's lost time. You see what I mean by most critical is like super clever with how he words shit, like to describe other things with metaphors. With other like historical facts and stuff. It's just super cool.
Like this is something that
really talented.
Media would have loved to do a little more digging on, but perhaps not. From everything I was able to cobble together, I can find no official sources from like the old newspapers or old articles written about it that confirm whether or not they tried to bribe him with $50 and a Big Mac. Sir W mentioned 2 of his main sources, and this information appears on this one, where it says that they offered him $50 for his sword, he ignored their bribe, they tempted him with a Big Mac, he held fast. But this site was making a joke out of the situation. Like, this post is clearly just playing around with it. It's not like 100% serious, though the situation is real. This isn't just like a factual, you know, play-by-play of what was really going on. So I feel like there's potential that this was just slid in here as a joke. Just a little bit of baloney, some fucking dirty barnacles to spice it up and make it a little wackier and not real. Because this appears nowhere else. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's potential that they did try that. Just to me, it sounds a little...
Maybe they thought he was a homeless man or something.
I just can't imagine one of them going on the horn being like, "Hey, bud, drop the sword and
we'll give you a Big Mac.
And this Big Mac that Bill was going to give to his kids after the shift today." Like, it just doesn't seem like something they'd really try.
Yeah, no.
Again, this whole thing is already ridiculous.
And they can't even shoot him because there's no probable
cause.
He
also said that he was possessed by demons and wanted to kill them.
He talked about Satan. He talked about his brothers in Russia and China, but he never really engaged the negotiator.
Now I'm going to go ahead.
I love how they just taking him at his word by saying he had brothers in... I forgot what the other place, but he said in China, and then he's dealing with. He took him so seriously, like what the fuck?
Ahead here.
I mean, he did stay there for like 11 hours.
Suffered from schizophrenia and manic depression, and had previously spent 10 years in a mental hospital.
Poor guy.
And even had a previous criminal charge of second-degree assault with intent to rape. So he's not exactly in his right mind.
Yeah, poor guy.
As you might imagine based on what you're seeing here.
But the suspect is unresponsive.
Never once did this individual talk to us. On occasion, he would shout out some things about Apollo and Satan and things like that.
What the fuck? Oh, so he's just insane.
Conversation with him at all.
As Commissioner Gordon states there, they couldn't really communicate with him aside from the mentions of Apollo. And he also talked about his brothers at some point, as well as like Satan. So it was very much a mental health crisis moment.
That sucks, man.
Which is why I think this lasted so long, because authorities really didn't know how to handle something like this, especially back then.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they were even more in the dark on what to do in a situation like this. So they spent a long time in just a complete standstill for 11 hours.
Because they didn't know what the fuck to do.
Trying to get him to drop the sword and reason with him, to no avail. So then they started to brainstorm some more aggressive ideas.
They load their guns with special bean bags that strike with the same impact as a heavyweight boxer's punch.
Shit.
They're designed to halt, but not harm suspects.
That's good.
Unable to convince him to stop, police fire the bean bags. The suspect retreats.
The fucking stairs.
Round after round and shows no sign of surrender.
Oh, did he hit him in the nuts?
Have you ever seen anyone this resilient?
An immovable force.
What the fuck? He's just taking them shits, bro. He's just taking them.
What a titan. I almost feel bad for the bean bags that struck his body. They probably just fucking exploded on impact. This is like, I tell you.
All right, I think the thing about this is that it's really cool that he gets this moment, but it's also super sad because 11 hours of standing there and like, imagine, put yourself in his situation, right? You have a sword. You're really fucking sad. You just want to look. I'm pretty sure he just wants to look cool, like have like a mid aura or something like that. Because he had the opium fit, leather jacket, army pants, like commando boots. Like he knew what he was doing, bro. Like he knew what he was doing. And I don't know, it's just super weird. But yeah, and then they're shooting him with beanbags and shit. I don't know. I feel bad for him, but it's also I feel like it's really just something to spice up everybody else's life, but I really hope he's doing all right.
The katana he's wielding
and they, eventually get him
made out of steel. There, his body is also made out of steel, forged just as powerfully as that blade he uses. But he did retreat. He didn't necessarily like getting hit with the beanbags.
Yeah, bro.
As night falls, the man still refuses to relinquish his razor-sharp sword.
Razor sharp. That shit's dull as shit. You bought that shit from Walmart. Did he tear gas him?
But the man shakes off the tear gas with almost superhuman strength, never releasing his weapon.
What
tried
the
to tear gas him, which he just
Oh,
shook off with ease. He looks mildly uncomfortable with the tear gas. It actually is like borderline superhuman.
The SWAT team
That's
has
so
one
much,
final
though.
option.
God.
Use fire hoses to remove his sword.
Yo,
In a
I'm not gonna lie.
orchestrated
In his mind, he's just thinking this is the craziest filler training arc of his life.
Police pin the
Holy
suspect
shit.
down with a ladder, pole, and riot shield.
And that's how the last samurai was defeated. An
Watered
11-hour stand. As the YouTube comments also pointed out, very few samurai throughout history can ever claim that they held off an army
For 11 hours.
alone on the battlefield.
Yo,
So a very
that's
impressive
insane.
feat. The fire hoses knocked him down,
Mhm.
and then they said that they did a textbook maneuver, claiming that what they did next was by the books, like really, standard procedure, pretty much.
Oh
where
my
they pinned him
God.
with a ladder and a pole and a riot shield. To me, that doesn't really seem like something
Textbook.
they practice. That's probably not in any SWAT training textbooks, I would imagine. Of course, I'm not SWAT trained, but that just seemed like they started to improvise. Like when he fell, they're like, all right, what do we got? What do we got? Give me that ladder.
Pin him down.
Grab that broomstick, and then your riot shield, just sit on top of him. All right, go. And then they did.
Because it's just lasting so long, bro.
So after this, he was once again put in another hospital from what
Aw,
I've
poor
read,
guy.
and he hasn't been seen since. Except Sir W actually did a bit of super sleuthing of his own and may have found evidence that the Seattle Samurai is still out there.
Hey.
2021, a dad was with his son at Bitter Lake Playfield, and while passing by a homeless encampment, spotted this distinct shiny object sticking out of the debris. Now, the location of this
Yo, bro,
park
that's like Elden Ring rare loot, bro. Like,
happens
that's
to be
insane.
about 50 miles away from Western State
Let's
Hospital,
go.
or a mere 8.2 miles away from where this whole thing began.
Yes, sir.
That's one of those
That's
stunning
insane.
moments in a movie where the audience just goes,
Yeah.
like a huge gasp. What a great find from Sir
Oh,
W there.
no.
Because that does look like the same blade that he was wielding, and it's pretty close to where this
Alright, after he dies, bro, that blade needs to be an historical object. I don't care.
And it's
bro.
also such a cinematic conclusion. It actually looks like the end to a Dark Souls game. After you beat the final
So
boss,
it's like
and
Elden
the final
Ring loot,
cutscene's
bro.
playing, and then it's just like your plus 10 moon veil stuck into the ground there. Like, that's what that whole scene
Yo,
played out
I don't
like.
know why that makes me so
Now,
happy.
Of course, it's not really a happy ending.
Yeah,
it
'cause he
seems
goes back
if
to the
this really
hospital.
is him, that he is still
Homeless.
and must not have gotten the help that
Yeah.
he needed, which is extremely sad.
Yeah.
Really, the whole situation is very sad, but it's
From
one
the
of those
beginning.
odd things that I can't believe actually happened, and even more peculiar is that nobody has ever really talked about it. So yeah, big thanks to Sir W for shining a light on this story.
Yeah.
It was a pretty fascinating one. That's about it. See ya.
Yeah, so that was most criticals for the Seattle Samurai. I thought that was a super interesting video, and like stuff like that, like just doesn't, you see it in the news like once and it never gets talked about ever again. And stuff like that I think is really cool. And he does a great job of just narrating the whole thing, setting it up and stuff. And man, I really hope this brings me to another thing. Like if you're dealing with like depression, mental health, shit like that, you gotta realize that you gotta hold on to your friends and your family, and either try to find a higher power or something that can motivate you to push you forward to be a better person. But yeah, with that being said, that was a crazy ass like way to end it off. Like finding the sword in some location not too far away from the hospital, and near the spot where it all happened. I mean, that's just pretty cool. Eventually I do hope he's doing well and stuff like that. But yeah, all right, y'all keep it a buck all the time, every time. I love y'all, boys and girls. I'll see you next one.